from Valley Christian High School, and we're doing a project for my Genius Hour in Bible class. Genius Hour is basically a thing where you can come up with an idea and fully like do your project and create something that'll help benefit your community. And I've chosen to make a soccer ball that lights up green or red, depending on if you kick it right, which if you do, it'll light up green, and if you kick it wrong, it'll light up red. The way we're going to go about this is we are planning on installing chips and sensors in here that will be able to detect the pressure and the amount of pressure in certain areas of the ball whenever you kick it with your toe, or if you kick it with the right part of your foot on the inside or outside. When you're passing, making goals, or just playing around with it, it'll be able to help you. This the goal of it is to help beginners play soccer the right way, so kind of train them. And yeah.
So the reason we don't have a finished prototype is when we were working on this project, we soon realized how infinitely complicated it got when we started talking about even just taking the ball apart, being able to stitch it back together, the sensors, the circuitry that was going to be needed to actually make this a viable prototype. But then through this, she's actually come up with some other ideas using an acoustic type of sensor that would be placed in the ball, so it kind of eliminates some of these moving parts. She still wants to keep going with this and use it for the same project for next year.
Next semester, yeah.
Yeah. And so what are your other ideas that the new direction that you want to go with this?
So instead of trying the sensory things and putting it like inside of each of the pads, having to take it apart, we can make it much simpler by figuring out a way to get something into this. It would have to be really small, but it would be able to detect the hollowness of the ball or measure sound. Because when you do kick the ball wrong, I've noticed that there's also a sound to it. It'll sound very hollow inside the ball, and when you kick it the proper way, there's like a very like firm sound. It's not really like not really, yeah, it's not really like that. So it sounds kind of full and followed through with. So that's the idea for next semester, and hopefully by then we'll have a full ball to be able to show you guys at the end of the year, and hopefully this will be able to help a lot of people learn, because when I was learning soccer, it was difficult for me to know when I was kicking it right or if I was kicking it wrong until somebody told me like, hey, look, here's a couple ideas, listen to the sound of the ball, so like that. But sometimes it still does get hard. And who knows, maybe a deaf person wants to learn soccer, something like that, and they're not able to hear the sound or like really understand it, so they have to see it visually. So this could be a benefit to many different people.
So what have you learned through the whole project, between the coming up with the concept of the idea to actually trying to put it into practice and do this whole, because it's gone from a simple idea to a really, really, really grand idea, now back to a simple idea.
I've learned not to think too far outside of the
so
box.
You're overdone
yeah, definitely.
the project.
But now I kind of have an idea of where I need to go, the next session, the next step I need to take in order to follow through with this and get the right features on the ball in order for it to be a nice trainer ball. And it'll look the same exact way, it'll just light up in each of the little pieces right here with the lights that we'll install into it.
Do you have any ideas on how, like, what more research you need to do, or I'm thinking maybe like soccer ball manufacturers, or?
Yeah, definitely need to get in contact with some people who know more about soccer balls than I do, how it's stitched together, how they'd be able to help me out and all that, and maybe an engineer if possible, because this is definitely not a simple task.
Even just looking at the simple ball, you can see whoever manufactured this is a multi-step project. Each one of these pads are a different geometric shape. Each one is stitched together, possibly from the inside. So, and these all were lined up. So this, even just a ball, is a marvel of engineering itself. It's got a cushion, the right thing right there. Mm-hmm. So to try to improve on it is definitely going to be a challenge. Are you up for it?
I'm up for it.
Who's the first person that you think you'll contact when for next semester to try to get this established?
Definitely people who know what they're talking about during like
maybe Wilson.
That makes sense. All right, well, thank you guys.